everyone, welcome to Ecoholics. In this video, we will be studying the concept of price discrimination and we will also be looking at a numerical based on price discrimination. So, let's get started. Price discrimination basically means selling of the same product at different prices to different buyers. So now the seller sells same product at different prices to different buyers. Let's understand the concept of price discrimination with help of an example. Now let's say if there's a seller who sells pen. Now to one buyer he sells the same pen at rupees 10 and to other buyer he sells the same pen for rupees 15, let's say. So now because he sells the same good, that is pen, to different buyers at different prices, therefore this becomes a case of price discrimination. Now there are few conditions for price discrimination to actually take place. First is the seller should divide the markets in such a manner that the products sold in the cheaper market cannot be resold in the dearer market. Now this sounds a bit confusing, but in simple term what we can say is, let's say if we have a seller and this seller sells in two different markets, that is we have market A and we have market B. In market A, he sells at rupees 10 and in market B, he sells a product at rupees 15, let's say. So now there is a possibility that the buyers in market A can sell the pen, or let's say if we take a certain commodity, let's say a pen. So there is a chance that the buyers in this market can sell to the buyers in market B at a price less than what this seller is selling. That is, let's say if the buyers in market A sells in market B at, let's say, rupees 12. So the buyers in market B are going to purchase from the buyers in market A and not from this seller. So in this case, price discrimination is not possible. Now the second condition would be that, let's say if a seller is selling in two different markets. So now market A and market B. The price elasticity of demand in both the markets should be different. Only then the price discrimination is actually possible. Now in that market where the price elasticity of demand is less elastic, there he will be charging high price. And in the market where the price elasticity or where the demand is more elastic, in this market he will be selling at low price. So the second condition is that the price elasticity of demand in both the markets should be different. And in this case, he is selling at rupees 10. So that means low price. So here the demand is more elastic. And in this market, he is selling at high price. So here the demand is less elastic. So these two conditions need to be satisfied for price discrimination to take place. Now, the next question that arises is, under which market structure is price discrimination possible? The answer to this question is quite simple. It is under monopoly. So under monopoly, price discrimination is possible because we have no close substitutes. And here the monopolist has maximum monopoly power. So he has maximum monopoly power. Because he has maximum monopoly power, therefore, the price discrimination is possible. Now, let's look at the two conditions for discriminating monopolists to be in equilibrium. So, the first condition is AMR is equal to MC and MR1 is equal to MR2 is equal to MC. So, we have assumed that a discriminating monopolist sells in two different markets. That is, let's say we have market A and market B. So in these two markets, he sells his product. And obviously, the price elasticity of demand in both the markets will be different. So therefore, we have MR1 and MR2. The marginal revenue in first market, in market 1, and the marginal revenue in second market. And AMR is the aggregate marginal revenue. So this is the aggregate marginal revenue in both the markets, and MR1 is the marginal revenue in market, let's say A, and MR2 is the marginal revenue in our second market, that is market B. So these are the two conditions for discriminating monopolists to be in equilibrium. Now let's look at an example to understand this. So suppose a discriminating monopolist is selling a product in two separate markets, in which the demand functions are P1 is equal to 12 minus Q1 and P2 is equal to 20 minus Q2. The monopolist total cost function is TC is equal to 3 plus 2Q. As an economic advisor, you are asked to determine the prices to be charged in two markets and amount of output to be sold in each market so that the profits are maximized. And you are also asked to calculate the total profits to be made from the strategy of price discrimination. So what all things we need to find? We need to find total profits and we need to find the prices to be charged in both the markets and the amount to be sold in each market. So what all things we need to find? We need to find P1, that is price in market 1, P2, price in market 2, Q1, the amount of output to be sold in market 1, and Q2, the amount of output to be sold in market 2. And we also need to find total profits. So let's start. So we have demand functions and our total cost function. So now we know that there are two conditions. So these are the conditions for discriminating monopoly to be in equilibrium, and these are the two conditions also for profit maximization. So now we have this condition. We will be using this condition. So now, for discriminating monopolist to be in equilibrium, we have the condition as MR1 is equal to MR2 is equal to MC. So, we need to find MR1, MR2 and MC. So, what do we first have is, let's first see what is our marginal cost. So, now we have total cost as, so our total cost is 3 plus 2Q. What is going to be our marginal cost? So, our marginal cost is going to be this. That is, we are going to differentiate total cost with respect to Q. That is our output. Now, differentiation of 3 will be equal to 0 because derivative of a constant term is always 0, and then we have derivative of 2Q. So, derivative of 2Q. Now, we know that so derivative of 2Q will be equal to 2 derivative of Q raised to 1. Again, using the basic rule of differentiation, we know that when the derivative of x raised to n is nx raised to n minus 1. So, in this case, n is 1. So, what do we get as? We get 2 into 1, q raised to 1 minus 1 is 0, and q raised to 0 is nothing but 1. So, we get this as 2. So, our marginal cost becomes equal to 2. Now we need to find our marginal revenue in first market and marginal revenue in second market. So, let's find this. Now, what is given is P1 is equal to 12 minus Q1. To find marginal revenue in first market, we need to find total revenue in first market. So, now our total revenue in first market will be equal to P1 into Q1. So, that is, total revenue in first market will be equal to 12 minus Q1 into Q1. And this is equal to 12 Q1 minus Q1 square. Now, to find marginal revenue in first market, what we are going to do is, marginal revenue in first market will be differentiation of total revenue in first market with respect to Q1. So, now differentiation of this term will be 12 into differentiation of Q1, that is Q1 raised to 1 would be 1, minus differentiation of Q1 square will be 2Q1. What we have used is, we have used the same basic rule of differentiation. That is, derivative of x raised to n will be nx raised to n minus 1. So, now our marginal revenue in first market will be equal to 12 minus 2Q1. Similarly, we are also going to find marginal revenue in second market. So now, the total revenue in second market will be equal to P2 into Q2. Now, but a demand function is given us, that is P2 is equal to 20 minus Q2. So 20 minus Q2 into Q2. Now, therefore, this becomes equal to total revenue in second market will be 20 Q2 minus Q2 square. Therefore, our marginal revenue in second market will be differentiation of total revenue in second market with respect to Q2. So now, this will be the derivative of 20 Q2 will be 20 minus derivative of Q2 square. Now Q2 square in this case n is equal to 2. So using this, what we get is, we get 2 Q2. And we have already seen that for a discriminating monopolist to be in equilibrium, the condition is MR1 should be equal to MR2 should be equal to MC. So this is our condition for discriminating monopolist to be in equilibrium. So we got MR1 as 12 minus 2Q1. So MR1, we can equate it to MC because we have already got our marginal cost as 2, and similarly we can also equate this term, that is MR2 to MC. Now our MR1 is 12 minus 2Q1 and MR2 is 20 minus 2Q2. So I'll write this over here. So MR1 is 12 minus 2Q1 and MR2 is 20 minus 2Q2. So, and we have our marginal cost as 2. So in this way we can find our Q1 and Q2. How? Now, what we are going to do is, MR1 is equal to MC. So MR1 is equal to MC. So we have 12 minus 2Q1 is equal to, our MC was equal to 2. So what do we get is, we get 2Q1 as 12 minus 2, that is 10. So therefore we get Q1 as 5. Similarly, we are also going to find Q2. So now, MR2 is equal to MC. So what did we get our MR2 as? We got our MR2 as 20 minus 2Q2 is equal to 2. So we get 2Q2 as 20 minus 2, that is 18. So we got our Q2 as 9. So the amount to be sold in first market, that is Q1, is equal to 5, and the amount to be sold in second market, that is Q2, is equal to 9. Now we are going to find P1 and P2, that is price in first market and price in second market. So what we got is our Q1 is equal to 5 and our Q2 is equal to 9. So Q1 is equal to 5. Therefore, P1 is equal to 12 minus Q1, that is 12 minus 5, that is equal to 7. Similarly, we have Q2 is equal to 9. Therefore, P2 will be equal to 20 minus, now our Q2 is 9. So 20 minus 9 will be equal to 11. Lastly, we need to find the total profits. So our total profits will be equal to total revenue in first market plus total revenue in second market minus total cost. Now, we have our total cost as 3 plus 2Q. So, our total cost will be equal to 3 plus 2. Now, this Q is the amount of output to be sold in both the markets. So, we can write Q as Q1 plus Q2. Now, therefore, our total cost will be equal to 3 plus 2 times, now Q1 plus Q2, that is 5 plus 9 will be equal to 14. And therefore, our total cost will be equal to 3 plus 14 twos are 28. And therefore, total cost will be equal to 31. So, we got our TC, that is total cost, as 31. Now, we need to find total revenue in first market. So, total revenue in first market will be P1 into Q1. Now, P1 into Q1. So, we have Q1 as 5 and P1 as 7. So, 7 5s are 35. So, total revenue in first market is equal to 35. Then, we have total revenue in second market, that is equal to P2 into Q2. Now, Q2 is 9 and P2 is 11. So, 11 into 9 is 99. So, what do we get is? We get total revenue in first market as 35 plus total revenue in second market as 99 and total cost as 31. So, 35 minus 31 would be 4 plus 99. Therefore, 99 plus 4 will be 103. So, our total profits would be 103. So, we need to find the prices charged in both markets, we have already found this. The amount of output to be sold in both the markets, that is Q1 and Q2, we have already found this. And the profits, the total profits. So it's done. So this completes our answer. For more such videos, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.